I was at a meeting of the National Association of Manufacturers about 9 months ago, and they started talking about their plan for America's 250th. And I was like, you know what? That is a great theme and a great reason to celebrate. And I know that the propane industry is incredibly patriotic and incredibly in favor of the direction of our country. And so it only made sense to have the expo revolve around America's 250th. Propane history is American history. You know, propane has been around since the early 1910s in its current format. And if you think about America today and America yesterday, America runs on propane. It is in everything we do. It's in our residences, it's in our farms, it's in our industry, it's in our transportation systems. So, you know, it really fits well with our country and with Americana. So as you'll see, the show floor is red, white, and blue this year. And so just a couple of extra little touches around America's 250th. We really wanted to celebrate propane and celebrate America's 250th and how they interact and interplay with each other. We're super excited to be back in Nashville this year. We are having record attendance right now. We have more attendees this year than we've had in over a decade. So we're crazy excited to be back in Nashville. Nashville's just a very vibrant city. It has a lot to offer for exhibitors as well as registrants, and it's you know, it's centrally located, it's easy to get to, and it's just a fun city. And, you know, a lot of folks, especially folks east of the Mississippi, had a long, cold winter, which was great for the propane business, but it's also nice to, you know, go to a city and kind of let your hair down and put your boots on and go enjoy yourself. And Nashville is the city for that. We've been in Charlotte the last 2 years. We've been very happy with Charlotte. It's a great venue, but we also realize that we don't want to be in the same city, you know, 5 years in a row, 10 years in a row. So having the show in different cities in different years is something that we're looking forward to continuing to do. We will be in Nashville for 3 years running, which is great. And I think people also like not moving every single year so that they remind themselves, okay, here are the restaurants I like, here are the coffee shops I like, here are the bars I like, and have some sort of continuity from that. But yeah, we'll be either in Nashville or Charlotte for the next several years. It is possible that we might, in the early parts of the 2030s, select another city to at least consider, but that's a long ways off. So we are definitely set on Nashville and Charlotte. We are contracted out through 2032 for the shows, and beyond that, we will be exploring other cities, but we're not sure whether or not we'll move to another city. But if we do, it will certainly be in the Southeast. Energy choice is at the forefront of our forward-thinking initiatives. It has passed through subcommittee and full committee of the House Energy Committee. We are waiting on a floor vote in front of the full House of Representatives and working with the U.S. Senate to try to get bipartisan leadership to support the bill. So that's important. LIHEAP continues to be very important. We are actually pushing this year to get a bill passed to fund LIHEAP in perpetuity so that we do not have to seek funding every year. That's going on. We're working very closely this year with OSHA. Certain states, OSHA enforcement groups have started enforcing something called process safety management at certain bulk plants across the country. It's a very expensive undertaking. We feel very strongly that the propane industry, the majority of facilities of the propane industry qualify for an exemption. So we are working with the national OSHA administrator and his staff on seeking an exemption for that. So that's critical right now. Litigation continues to be at the forefront. Litigations that are ongoing, we have about a dozen. The New York appellate litigation is ongoing, and we are anxiously awaiting a decision on that. If we are not successful, we will appeal to the U.S. Supreme Court. We are also working very closely with the U.S. Department of Justice on litigations. Multiple litigations were just resolved in our favor in California, thanks to the DOJ's input. We are also working very closely with them on suits that we have filed in the states of New Jersey and now in Maryland. The DOJ is getting on board with those suits, so that's important. A lot of stuff happening in codes and standards. Certain codes and standards groups, which I'm not going to name for public consumption, but certain codes and standards groups continue to press for anti-gas, pro-electrification policies in their codes and standards, basically backdoors to laws and regulations, and we're pushing back very aggressively against those codes and standards proposals. I tend to be doom and gloom because that is my job, is to defend the industry. There is a lot of positive happening. This administration we have worked extremely closely with. We have very strong ties in the White House, very strong ties in all the regulatory agencies. We are rolling back so many bad policies at the federal level right now, working hand in glove with this White House and with President Trump's regulatory agencies. So across the Department of Energy, the EPA, we're working on things with FERC, we're working on things with PHMSA, we're working on things with FMCSA. So a lot of things are being rolled back. And then on the positive side, the proactive side, we are working to boost the grant opportunities for propane. So for example, in school buses, transit buses, and other areas, we're really working to close the gap on the grants available for propane and gas and electric, and really bringing those together so that gas and propane are not disadvantaged against electric on the grant opportunities from the federal government. I would say NPGA hears from members in one way, shape, or form every single day, right? We have 2,400 member companies. Sometimes they're calling myself or our staff directly. Sometimes we're learning about issues through state association meetings. One thing we've done in the last several years is NPGA, either our staff or one of our volunteer board chairs, or especially myself, have attended about 50 different state meetings every single year. And so our goal is really to be at these meetings, talking to members that may not come to national events and asking them, what issues are you seeing? Because if we see something at 2 or 3 meetings from 2 or 3 different members, we know that this is an issue that's impacting the industry across the board nationwide and something that we really need to jump on.